Hi guys, Fricky here. Okay, so I took the wheels off. I haven't started cutting this car yet. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna save this front end of this car. I've had a thorough look of it. The driver's side chassis leg it's good. It's clean. It doesn't look too bad, but we've had some welding up here. It could have been from the floor. And the inner fender on the other side, I kind of smashed it open to get to the bolts off the cross member. Let me show you guys. You can see here they like broke it open here to get access to the cross member bolts. Otherwise the chassis rail is really clean on this side. That's not too bad. And then we've got a repair patch we need to do here, but that'll be with the new front end. But what bothers me a lot, the passenger chassis rail is totally destroyed. I don't know if it's been cut and welded. It looks like it's been smashed. The gaps of the car are still fine. It held up pretty well. And then also in the front, it looks really skeptical. And then we also had these poor repair jobs here. So honestly, I don't know if I'm going to save this front end. There's no point of trying to fix the front end and the bulkhead and the A-posts when I can just replace everything with that front end of the other car. So I'm anticipating of drilling out the chassis rail spot welds over here, both sides, cut it from the sills, and then just drill out I'll keep the dash in place. I'll just build a frame so I can keep the positioning of the car, which is still dodgy basically, as that side of the nose moves. This side of the car here, when we put some weight on it, you can see it flexes. It's not a lot, it's still solid, but it flexes enough to put me off. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. I don't know. I really would like to keep the inner fenders, but I'm going to have to cut them straight through there, here, join that entire front end on, and then I still need to remove that chassis leg, the entire chassis leg, as it's already ruined. So which means I don't want to cut that chassis leg, because then I'm going to need it over here. So yeah, and then otherwise I still need to take the upper and the lower bulkhead out to fit the replacement in. And then as well, I don't know, the gaps, I'm measuring, everything measures up, but that could have been a new measurement on the car as well from an impact on this side. And also we've got so much welds everywhere in the bulkhead. I don't know, I can just change the strut tops, at least the one with the chassis stamp on it, and then I can just remove this entire front end from the dash to the chassis legs below. I can remove that 1600s. Everything is identical. Everything is identical. It's just the inner fenders that's different, and it's only those slide ends. I can press in the new indentations into them if I really need to. But from the amount of work we need to do here and fix, it might be just easier to. There's no point of trying to save the inner fenders if I'm gonna cut and join, and that one I need to weld in an entire new section. Then the front, I'm sorry guys, I got a phone call, I got interrupted. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. I'm gonna post this on Facebook, on a few places, as I honestly don't know what to do. I can replace the bulkhead, the upper bulkhead, all those pieces, but to ask yourself, to get all those welds and cuts and stuff, is it really worth it just trying to save the original inner fenders? I can really easily replicate those onto that one and change the strut tops. I can build a jig that I can keep the exact gaps from the chassis to the front, everything. Then I can remove that entire front end from the chassis rails where the factory joints is. I can cut it from there. I can clean it up properly. I can remove this dash. Well, I'm going to keep the dash in. I'm going to keep it on this. There's inner structure here. I could take the skin off and I can remove it from that inner structure that's attached to the dash by drilling out these spot welds and keeping that slight piece in place. And as I bolt into the new chassis, if I join the new chassis on the legs, both sides on the spot welds, and I join these exactly, the car's gap should be 100% spot on. But I'll build a frame that I can basically bolt onto the strut tops. It goes to the roof. I can bolt it onto 2 places, and then at the bottom of the chassis, just a slight frame on the sides, just so we can keep our gaps 100%, so we know we are on spot. Then I don't like changing an entire front end of the car, but as I stated, we need to replace that chassis leg. There's no saving on that chassis leg. This side's chassis leg is perfect still, but is it really worth it of trying to save this? Is it really worth of trying to save these 2 chassis legs? I have a spot welder. I can easily weld up the chassis legs again as from the factory. I can clean both sides from, so I can just get a clean spot weld in. And I can plug weld it and put in a reinforcing bar, and we can keep this reinforced struts, so we can basically put that front end right into here. But as I can see, there's so much damage here. There's no point of trying to save anything in the front, because basically we're gonna have to cut that front end off, weld it onto here. Then after we've welded it on, we still need to remove all the spot welds, take the upper bulkhead and the lower bulkhead out. Then we have to take this one's upper and lower bulkhead out, and then plus we need to weld it in here and get the gaps flush and stuff. Then after that, we still need to replace the entire floor pan. After the entire floor pan's been replaced, then only we can take the chassis rail out to replace it. And to my perspective, it's really worth it just to trying to save on the inner fenders. And we've got some movement here already, so the front end has probably already lost some, like not a lot, like 2-3 millimeters of its gaps and stuff. So where we take that front end off and put it here and clamp the chassis legs on the exact position and the inner wings, then we know we've got a perfect front end that needs minimal repairs and work and should be ready straight up. We've just got the upper bulkhead, slight few welds we can do there, clean up nicely, and we should be good to go. We can just spot weld the dash back to the bulkhead, and then we can plug weld the inner chassis rails here, and then we can just re-weld the skins, the soles, and then basically we will be good to go. The chassis will be welded, the soles will be welded. It's basically just a floor section that we're not going to be welding because we're still going to replace the entire floor. So we can build an entire jig up, so we know we're fine on the gaps and lines. But yeah, judging to this section that's totally rusted off, that section that's totally rusted out there, we've probably lost some lines. So the safest route to get a perfect straight car is just simply taking the front end of this 1600. This is a super clean front end that needs minimal welding. We've got slight rust, we've got the battery tray that needs to be removed, that's standard. But we have slight rust on the top of the bulkhead that we can just weld up. We've got this side a small bump on the fender, and that's just the front balance. We've got some small rust repairs by the bumper brackets, and obviously the floors will need to be replaced. But further on, we've got an extremely clean front end on this car. So sorry, I got interrupted again. I'm using my phone to record videos as it's got the best quality camera what I've got now available. But that's where we are. This is a tight cookie. As I stated, I don't like replacing front ends on a car, but I can't see otherwise with the amount of work and cutting and stuff we need to do on this front end. I can might as well just replace the entire front end of the car, despite me battling trying to fix this and fix that. We can just build a jig up, keep everything, all the gaps, and then we can take the front end off. Nothing is going to be a straight cut and join. All the joints is going to be exactly by spot. It's going to be where the factory joined the cars. As you can see at the bottom, the chassis rails gets joined right over there. So we can cut it over here, drill out that's... Let me just get focus again. Let me just get you a proper focus, you guys. We can cut it over there, drill out that small piece of spot welds, and clean it up. Same with the car in the opposite direction. So we've got factory joint to factory joint, and we can spot weld those back on, because the floor will be removed, so we'll have more than enough place for the spot welder to get in, to get that flush welds. And then same with on the dash section, we can remove, there's a small brace. I'm gonna see if I can get my phone in here. We've got that plate there that we can keep on. So once the dash, we basically gonna cut the skin out, and then we're gonna remove the spot welds from the inside here on the A-post from the opposite side. So we're just gonna draw out these plug welds, and then we're basically just gonna cut that section away, but we still keep this reinforced bracket. That ties the A-post, the upper A-post, to the dash and stuff. On both sides it's identical, but on the car we cut the dash out in that section, and then we're just gonna remove out all the spot welds, so we get a flush clamp on both ends. So if we're joining the new nose to the old nose, then we know we are spot on all the gaps. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. I haven't made an official decision yet, but that's the only obvious choice I could make. That's all I'm gonna be recording today. I don't think I'm gonna do anything until I've made up my mind. Hope you guys have a lovely evening.